now watching Color Me Crypto, Digital Cash Decoded. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
And if you enjoy the video, visit us on Patreon for exclusive content.
This video is for informational purposes only. Nothing presented herein constitutes financial advice. No person or entity associated with this production received payment or anything of value or entered into any agreement in connection with the depiction of software, products, services, or trading platforms. All views expressed are solely those of this channel, unless explicitly stated otherwise. Viewers should seek counsel from a financial advisor prior to making any investments. Investing without proper planning or research can result in a complete loss of funds.
What up, what up? Color Me Crypto episode 4. This is going to be the first time, recording with the webcam and a microphone setup. Hopefully the audio comes out good. I don't have much control over the microphone with this app I'm using. But long story short, the question is, what do you guys think? Do you think cryptocurrency is the future? Why not? Do you think it'll come to a point in the next 10, 20 years where we're completely cashless, as in no paper money, no fiat, it's all digitized and controlled by the government or whatever entity is issuing it? Personally, I don't know either way. I don't have an opinion of which way it'll go, because right now when you look at it, only 14% of Americans are using cryptocurrency. I'm sure that percentage is a little different depending on what countries you go to, but there's a lot of places around the world that just don't use digital money as much as we in the Western, quote unquote, civilized world do. So it's just something to think about. I'm going to go over some things that just to make you think, like Facebook's coin Libra, now named DM. They were working on a coin for a worldwide coin, actually. We're going to talk about Sweden, how they're digitizing people, creating cyborgs. Some interesting stuff, just conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat kind of stuff, but at the same time, I'm bringing actual receipts. So let's hop right in. So here on the screen, we got Justin Timberlake, and I don't know the actress's name. That's his love interest. The movie is called In Time. I used to like that movie as a kid. I think it came out in 2004. I'm not sure. I believe 2004. But anyway, basically in this movie, time is money. Time is money and time is youth. People do not live past the age of 25 in this movie. JT, he's taking care of his mother. He's very poor. He's working a dead-end job. And he basically meets a billionaire. This billionaire, he's, suicidal, I believe, and he just gives Justin Timberlake all of his time. And Justin Timberlake now, he's never had this much money because, remember, time is money. He's never had this much money, so he leaves where he's from and he goes, with the big ballers, the big spenders, and he gambles with the time, and he starts pissing people off. And there's a timekeeper. He'll be on one of the slides. I don't know the actor's name, but he's basically hunting down Justin Timberlake, like, how did you get this much time? And basically, it's the perfect example for the topic I wanted to dive into, so let's just go. Benefits, these are all supposed, by the way. So the supposed benefits of a cashless society would be less crime, less money laundering, less resources used on processing payments, and it would be easier to swap your currency when you travel from country to country. The disadvantages now, it exposes your personal information to a possible data breach. If hackers drain or hack your account, you'll have no alternative source of money. Technology problems can leave you with no access to your money. The poor and those without bank accounts will have difficulty paying and receiving payments, and some may find it hard to control, and banks may start charging fees like they don't already. So these are all just supposed, like, what if? There's nothing to say that crime is just gonna up and vanish. Well, it does say lower, but there's nothing to say that just because we have a chip in our arm or we're using all digital now, like, people not gonna steal. Thieves and criminals will always find a way to be thieves and criminals, long story short. So now we're gonna watch a little clip of the video, or a trailer, I should say. Sorry, we're gonna watch a little trailer of the video, just so you guys could basically get the gist of the movie if you haven't seen it already. If you haven't, just check it out. It's a pretty cool concept. I liked the movie, and yeah, it was like the best example I could think of off the top of my head for this this movie or this video that I wanted to make. And I ripped the audio out just for copyright, so you know no one lives past 25. You know, the baby born with the little thing on his arm. That's mother, daughter, and granddaughter, by the way, or grandmother, mother, and child. So here's him at his job. He ain't getting no money. The guy's like, hey, fuck off, man. You ain't getting no more money. And you know, the rich can live forever. So this is where he's at the mansion with the rich people, and that's the timekeeper. The poor die young. Then we got homeboy balled up there dead. So just things to think about, really. Do you think we will eventually become a cashless society? Moving on. Why cash is good for the elite. Traceability. The blockchain is public, decentralized ledger. There's not to say you cannot have a private ledger that only certain people can view. And if they were to make a world global currency, that's probably how it would be. It would probably be a permissioned blockchain where only certain entities could join in and validate and see transactions. Anywho, government and law enforcement. This is kind of back to pros and cons. Automated taxation. It eliminates forgeries. Travel restrictions are easier to impose on criminals. You can lock up someone's assets a lot easier. Monitoring suspicious purchases, that's already going on in cryptocurrency space right now, which is like extremely unregulated in comparison to the regular financial institution. And irrefutable proof, zero deniability. There's always going to be a paper trail. And second point for marketing and advertising, you know, if you could spend some money to get advertisement, you know, you'll get more money because it's targeted to who buys what. Everyone knows your purchase history, the eye in the sky. This is just a quick little note. Crypto cannot be forged to date, at the date of this recording. The $20 bill is the most popular forged note in the US. According to the Treasury, 70 million counterfeit bills are in circulation. That's one for every 10,000 of actual real money. And counterfeit money has evolved into a huge black market with an estimate of over 200 million. I'm not sure if that's yearly, but you get the point. Counterfeit is a big problem with our current financial system that we have set up. So now here's what I really want to start getting into with this video. On the screen, I got America in orange. If you look in the back graphic, America's in orange, and we have Sweden in green. Then when you come forward to the front graphic, it is the evolution of a cashless society. This is from CNN. I'm not sure on the year. I'd have to go back and check the year, but it's from CNN. The evolution of a cashless society. Basically, the darker the country is, the more digitized their economy is becoming. So the darker blue means the more digitized. You'll notice the darkest blue countries are Canada, Sweden, the UK, and like Belgium. Belgium has 93%. And then Australia. I believe the video might be blocking Australia, but anyway. So we have Canada, Sweden, and Belgium, UK. Those European nations, all pretty much, as well as Australia, all pretty much cashless. So 3 out of 10 British people have never written a check. That's 30%. Half of British people under 25 have never written a check, and then it just goes on to some other stats. So I bring this up to show you, basically, we're going to get into it, but America and Sweden are really close friends. Now, when you look at the legend, the color of America shows America is at the tipping point of 80% cashless. So we still use cash, you know, for a lot of stuff, but we're 80% cashless. Notice all the different methods we have to pay people. We have Venmo, PayPal, Cashapp, Zelle, Western Union. There's so many different, well, Western Union you kind of have to, but anyway, Western Union depends how you want to pay them, but just keep in mind, Sweden and America are best friends. America the orange and Sweden the green. So now we got the American dollar, because based in America, just going to touch on this. $1 in 1800 is worth $21.19 today. I looked this up last week. I believe the numbers probably around the same, but Americans' paychecks now on the right hand side are bigger than 40 years ago, but their purchasing power has hardly budged. And it's just showing that our dollar today is pretty much useless when you compare it to 40 years ago, because obviously the cost of living is going up. You have inflation. So the question is, what gives paper money, what gives the money we use every day value when you can literally just print off a limitless amount of it? What is exactly giving it its value? Because when you think about currency, it doesn't necessarily have to be paper or whatever. It's something that the two transacting parties agreed they would, exchange for goods and services. That's all currency is. But we have this idea that, currency has to be physical. And it's just something to think about. So $1 today, it would take $21 today to equal $1 in 1800. Keep that in mind. And keep in mind, remember, Sweden and America are buddies. We're going to touch on this as we continue on. Swedish cyborg craze sees more than 4,000 Swedes insert chips under their skin. Now, this is going into what I was talking about with the cyborgs. People in Sweden, and look at the date on this article. This article was written by Anthony Cuthbertson on Friday, or it was published on Friday, October 26th, 2018. This is 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, 4,000 people in Sweden volunteered to get chips in their arm. RFID technology, which is used in everything from credit cards to passports, is finding its way into the human body. And this is called transhumanism. I'm gonna give you some examples, but transhumanism is basically the concept of man and machine becoming one. It's kind of unrelated to the cryptocurrency thing, but at the same time it's kind of related to it. But transhumanism is the idea of bringing man and machine together and working basically in unison. And we're going to show you transhumanism in movies because that's the easiest way to illustrate my point. So we got Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, iRobot, Elysium, Ghost in the Shell, Replicas. Replicas is pretty good with Keanu Reeves. Check it out. It's basically him and a robot become the same. They have the same mind basically at a certain point in the movie. And Upgrade, that's where a guy, he got into an accident. I believe it was a car accident, a really bad accident, and it wrecked his body. And then he volunteered to get some kind of chip in his neck. And when he got that chip, it basically turned him into like Superman. So that's basically transhumanism. Like, I got Will Smith on the screen too from iRobot, where, he was a police and he hated robots because he felt they were, taking over and they were a threat to humanity. But it turns out he himself had a robotic body part, which was his arm. And that's transhumanism in a nutshell, basically, the coming together of man and machine. So now back to Sweden and US. So just check out these bullet points. Sweden and the US have had strong ties since the 18th century. So basically, America and Sweden been friends from the 1700s. Sweden has an embassy in Washington, D.C. United States has an embassy in Stockholm. So now they've been friends from the 1700s, and they both have embassies in each other's capital. The United States and Sweden have strong economic relations. The U.S. is currently the third largest Swedish export trade partner, and U.S. companies are the most represented foreign companies in Sweden. So basically, they're best buddies. Long story short, Sweden and America. Remember, the Swedes in 2018, 4,000 of them, and that's a ballpark probably, but about 4,000 people volunteered to get chips in their arms. And that's the people that we're basically cozied up with, best friends with, have a lot of business dealings with. So now here on the screen, remember we had the UK and Belgium was 93%. So we got Belgium on the screen, we got the UK, Netherlands, and all those areas. So look, coronavirus may have hastened the decline of cash usage in the UK. The lighter the shade of the line means the more recent it is. So it's from 2018 to 2020. So, cash is in use 2018, cash is in use 2019. And then all of a sudden, it drops down significantly around April 2020. And billions in cash withdrawals from the national UK ATM source link ATM network cash withdrawals monthly data. So that's just one ATM franchise, but it could be inferred. One could infer by looking at this that the news of COVID-19 and the sequester, the self-isolation, the social distancing, all of those measures played a heavy hand in why the UK is now extremely cashless. 93%, if you go back and look at the evolution of a cashless society, it was 93% in Belgium, sorry. And basically it's just showing when COVID really started popping off, there was a sharp decline in the amount of cash transactions or people withdrawing cash from ATMs at least. So here's the good stuff now. Here's what I really wanted to touch on. So Facebook unveils its Libra cryptocurrency as politicians raise eyebrows. The social network's new cryptocurrency could fuel its e-commerce ambitions. This was written by Queenie Wong on June 20th, 2019. Fast forward 2 years later, this article is actually from a few days ago. Facebook backed crypto project DM to launch US stablecoin. The project will also relocate from Switzerland to the US as it scales back its global cryptocurrency ambitions. Facebook and its partners plan to launch DM, a new global cryptocurrency. This article is from about 8 days ago at the time of this recording. So Libra and DM are the same thing, by the way. DM is Libra but rebranded. So it's no longer going by the name Libra, even though I will refer to it as Libra in this video. You just need to know that the new name is DM and it's launched by Facebook and its partners. You're going to see who some of its partners are. So real quick, here it is. Libra. The group is also trying to alleviate concerns that Libra could be used for money laundering or black market transactions, saying it would work with authorities around the world to ensure Libra conforms to regulations in multiple countries and jurisdictions. So now when you look at some of Libra's partners, they got some big names in there. They got Lyft, eBay, Spotify, PayPal, Coinbase, Uber, what else they got? MasterCard, I don't know if I said that, MasterCard, Visa. They just got some serious partners, basically. This is the original 28, I believe, but basically a few left. I'm sure they got new partners, but just keep in mind, they will work with authorities around the world and they will operate in multiple countries and jurisdictions. This is Facebook's coin Libra, aka DM, or now known as DM. Facebook backed DM partners with Silvergate Bank to issue US dollar stablecoin. DM Networks US will register as a money services business with FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. That's what FinCEN is. Silvergate will be the formal issuer of the DM US dollar stablecoin. Silvergate will also manage the reserve backing the token. A stablecoin basically is pegged to a real world asset. So say there were $100 US in circulation. If there was a stablecoin to back up that $100, that means that there would be 100 of the virtual version of the coin. That's what a stable coin is, pretty much, or it's supposed to be, where for every digital coin there's a physical coin, kind of similar to how we used to be on the gold standard with fiat, but we're not. They just print off notes with no gold in the reserves. But anywho, Silvergate Bank CEO Alan J. Lane, headquarters La Jolla, California. Remember, Libra scaled back its operation, changed its name to DM, and then moved from Switzerland to America. They moved from Switzerland to La Jolla, California, if you want to be specific. So this is where they plan to launch the US dollar stablecoin, DM, and eventually get their multi-currency version, which we're going to talk about. So the then Libra Association abandoned the original stablecoin vision as a token backed by a basket composed of different fiat currencies after regulatory pushback from policymakers worldwide, instead choosing to launch a set of new tokens, each backed by a single fiat. So basically, instead of one coin for everyone, they decided they would make several different coins for each country. Now, second bullet, the project also plans to issue a multi-currency token, XDM, that is a composite of its single currency coins. So XDM is basically they're going to take all the other coins, you know, to make them feel comfortable where it was just one coin per country. XDM is going to be a come together, a mashup of all those coins into one. So it's basically the same mission. They just had to change the image of it. So that's XDM. And I might probably put the link to the white paper so you guys can read that if you want. So here's a little like number or here's the amount of people who use Facebook. This data was taken this year in 2021. So Oberlo, however you pronounce that, Oberlo, asks the question, how many people use Facebook? Facebook monthly active users. Monthly active users were 2.8 billion. This is 2021. This is this year. Facebook daily active users, 1.84 billion. So that's about 80%, I believe. 1.84 is about 80% of 2.8. I might be wrong, but I believe it's about 80%. And then I did a quick Google search. It's on the screen. You can Google it yourself if you would like. Total world population 2021. That's exactly what I typed in. The answer that Google gave me was 7.9 billion. So I did some quick, you know, math, and I have that on the screen as well. Hopefully you can see it clearly. But basically, I divided that, you know, the monthly active users and the total world population, and the number is 0.35443 yada yada yada. So what that's saying is 35% of the world's population, or 35.44% of the world's population, is on Facebook. So imagine if this coin DM, which formerly was known as Libra, imagine if this coin actually gained some traction. That means 35% of the world's population would be exposed to and using this coin. That's not, you know, doom and gloom. That's just saying Facebook, how far-reaching Facebook's influence would be if they were to actually launch this coin. That's like crazy if you think about it. 35.44% of the world's population on Facebook. And if Facebook were to launch a coin, that would be wild. That would be crazy. So let's just compare Bitcoin and Libra so you can get an understanding of where I'm coming from and why I think Libra is honestly going to be, or DM, sorry, why DM is going to be the test run if they were to actually want to try to implement a one world currency for everyone and make everything traceable. And you'll see what I'm getting at. So Bitcoin is decentralized. No single entity controls it. Facebook and Libra Association have a large amount of control over the asset and its usage. BTC price is not dependent on any single government. DM's price is tied to leading national currencies and other stable financial assets. Bitcoin is deflationary, as only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. Libra is controlled by the Libra Association, subject to supply and demand. That's the same thing we have right now with the Federal Reserve here in America. Whenever there's not enough money in circulation, the Federal Reserve could literally just print more money. So what is giving the money its value? That is why $1 today, it takes $21 today to equal $1 in 1800. Google that if you'd like, if you do not believe my reasoning behind that and how I went about deciding that for myself. And lastly, here's the important one. Blockchain for Bitcoin is permissionless. Miners can simply begin mining at their discretion. Libra now. Libra initially will run on a permissioned blockchain. Miners must seek approval before starting to mine. So Libra basically says, this is from their team, Libra DM, whatever you want to say. They say they're going to start off permissioned, meaning obviously they pick and choose who gets to join. And it's more than likely going to be those 28 organizations from their association, the Libra Association or the DM Association. So they say once, you know, it's up and running, then they will switch from permission to public. which makes no sense to me. Why not just start public? Why the need to start off permissioned? So now here I'm going to show you now. Here's why I think that DM from Facebook is going to be the first implementation, or the first dry run of a one world type of currency, or the start of a cashless society currency. The Libra protocol will enforce a transaction limit and a maximum address balance on each unhosted wallet address. And I took that straight from the Libra white paper. That is in the white paper. So if you want to read it for yourself, it's in there. The Libra protocol will enforce a transaction limit and a maximum address balance on each unhosted wallet. That's basically saying, if you buy your coins from an approved seller or an approved exchange, an approved crypto market, and you decide you want to own those keys completely and own the private key associated with them, that is saying if you transfer your coins to your own private address, they will put stipulations on how much you can have and how much you can spend if you're not using one of their approved wallets. So when you keep that in mind, and you tie that to the fact that Facebook is the feds, we already know it. Mark Zuckerberg is the feds, we already know it. So when you take those two facts, that Facebook already has a lot of our personal information, it knows where we're checking in, where we're going to eat, who our friends are. When you take that and you tie it to them being able to now see what you're spending your money on, it's not very hard to imagine that this would be the start of, or at least they would see and tweak where they want to go with the whole one currency type thing. And I just want to end on this note. So no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. In the first 7 months of Bitcoin's existence, Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto mined as many as 1.1 million Bitcoin. This fortune, now worth in excess of 30 billion, remains untouched to this day. Numerous individuals have been put forward as the enigmatic Satoshi, but his identity has yet to be definitively proven. Me personally, I will say I do not know. I really have no clue who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but I am leaning towards he might be Nick Szabo, who was a computer scientist who basically developed BitGold. And BitGold is the direct predecessor to Bitcoin. BitGold explained the proof of work. It explained how miners would validate transactions. It explained that the ledger would be public and distributed across several computers. He basically laid the blueprint for Bitcoin. And when you look at Nick Szabo, Nick, that's an N. Szabo, it starts with a S. Then you have Nakamoto Satoshi, N and S again. Like it's basically too funny. And it just can't be a coincidence that this computer scientist has the same initials as Satoshi Nakamoto, who no one knows who he is. So they got a guy with, his name sounds like Slavic or Russian or something. It's a European name. And you to throw people off the trail, you give the creator of Bitcoin a Japanese sounding name, but you still keep those first two letters. And then there's also the conspiracy theory that Satoshi Nakamoto is NSA, because when you take Satoshi and Nakamoto, when you translate the kanji for those names into English, you get central or wise and intelligence. So central intelligence, NSA, yada yada yada. I might put a link to an article that I found, and basically showing that Nick Szabo did know people in the NSA, and you can read that on your own time. But like I said, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think crypto is the future, and if you think we're on track to be a fully cashless society. This video is just for a little fun. Next video, we're gonna maybe talk about taxes and stuff, what you need to know about crypto tax and stuff. But much love, peace. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Much love.
To support this channel, please donate through Cashapp, PayPal, or Venmo. Donations fund the creation of new content.